everyone, welcome back. Today we got another exciting project for you related to Polaris Rangers. A lot of you have asked how I made my grippers for the Polaris Ranger cargo box. So today we're going to go over two styles, one which has the knob on it like this, and then we're going to go over another style that I use to make the T-slot connection. All right, let's get at it. All right, what we're doing today, we're going to talk about how I made these bed grippers for the Polaris Ranger that go down in the bed rails, in the cavities in the bed rails, allowing you to make attachments to the bed rails. The Polaris Ranger has, in the case of my Ranger, I have 6 cavities down each side and 9 across the back, spaced about every 6 inches. So you can put these down in there and attach stuff to them. This is the traditional one with a knob or some type of other attachment device. Sometimes they put rings on top, depending on whatever you want. Of course, you could do whatever you wanted to this. This is just a bolt. And then we'll go over the one that I use to make the T-slot bed rails, and I'll put a link into that video as well. These function basically the same way, but their carriage head bolt is down in the T-slot as opposed. So these are basically upside down from each other, if you will. When I was trying to figure out how to do this, I looked at a big bunch of stuff and ways to do it. Ultimately, I wanted it to be inexpensive. I didn't want to spend 20 bucks a piece. I wanted, 10 bucks a piece or so. What I came up with is these engine block expanders from Dorman. I'll put the link in the description below. They're 2 different sizes. There's a smaller one at the bottom than there's at the top. If you're not that familiar with the Polaris bed rail cavities, they are tapered. They are about 4.5 inches deep, but they are wider at the top than they are at the bottom. They are tapered. So this one, the smaller one, is 1 1/4 to 1 3/8. That's the one on the bottom, and this is the one on the top, which is 1 3/8 to 1 1/2, which unexpanded fit relatively snugly in there, and then of course once you start to tighten it down, it expands out real nice. The only other piece you need here to make this work is a carriage bolt. You need a knob. This is a basic $3 5/16 inch knob from your big box store. This is the washer that's on the larger of the 2 expanders. This is the larger of the 2 expanders. This is the bottom washer from the expander. I got a piece of 3/4 inch PVC coupler here. Simple, I didn't cut it. I mean, you could use anything. If you wanted the section in the middle to be different, you could cut your own PVC and alter that length if you wanted, keeping in mind that that cavity is only about 4.5 inches deep. I put a small piece of tube on here to go over this to keep this PVC from moving too much from side to side. I didn't want it to cant off to one side and then have a problem when you snugged it up, having the thing kind of go lopsided. You do need another 5/16 inch washer. This one is a 1 1/8 inch washer. It sits on the top of here. This is the smaller of the 2 expanders. And then this is the bottom washer from the 2 expanders, and then of course this is a 5-inch carriage bolt. The beauty of these expanders is they come already with a square cutout in the bottom washer on each of these. So that just happens to slide over perfectly and sit on top of that carriage bolt. The bottom of the expander is also cut square, and when that goes down over the carriage bolt, that snugs onto the carriage bolt nice as well, and it does not move with the carriage bolt. It's locked to the head of the carriage bolt. Okay? Another store-bought washer for a couple of pennies. Spacer, mine's out of PVC with a piece of hose in the middle. The other washer that came with the expander. The other expander. The top washer from the expander, and then of course a knob. Simple as that. Stick it in the hole, snug it up. These 2 expand out. As you can see, they're expanding there. Makes a nice snug fit. Works great. under 10 bucks. These are like $3.50 a piece at your local auto parts store. The washer and the carriage bolt and the knob, you know, another $3 or so. $3 for the knob, maybe $4. The T-slot version that I made, of course, this one I made out of stainless. It's kind of done exactly backwards of this, where the carriage head bolt is on the top. I've got an 1.5 inch stainless washer, the larger of the two expanders, another stainless washer here, a piece of PVC coupler, a 1 1/8 inch stainless washer here, the smaller expander, and a 1 inch stainless washer on the bottom, and then of course a nylon lock nut. All this is 5/16. This carriage bolt just happens to be 4 inches because that was what was readily available in the big box store. I looked around quite a bit. Even at the marine store, the largest one I could find on the shelf was 4 inches in stainless. If you didn't want to go stainless, obviously they have lots of lengths in the big box store for that. I did want to use stainless specifically for these. The beauty of this is the way the carriage head locks into the T-slot there. As you can see that, it's holding that carriage head. So when this tightens up, so when I put this down into the bed, you can get to the bottom of these with an extension on a socket. It's a 1/2 inch nut, and just run that up through the bottom of the bed and then snug these up. This expands out into the bed rail cavity and snugs the T-slot on top of there real nice. All right. Really easy to make, really inexpensive to make. Costs a little bit more, obviously, if you want to go with the stainless than traditional. But these engine block expanders are available at, I checked 3 or 4 different auto parts stores. They all had them. They may or may not necessarily have this brand, but everywhere had engine block expanders. Again, the smaller one is 1 1/4 to 1 3/8. The larger one is 1 3/8 to 1/2. And you know, the beauty of these, specifically this brand, was the fact that that bottom washer already had a square cut hole in it, made it much nicer because that locked that carriage bolt into the bottom when you were trying to turn it. Makes it snug up quicker, makes it grip faster, gets started really easily. All right, thanks for watching. See you next time.